Okay, so today we're looking at something pretty different. Yeah, it's a single PDF file
Mm.
we've got here, but it's quite a document. It's titled 2019.09.09 response 1.pdf. And right away that date, well, it makes you wonder, doesn't it?
Yeah, September 2019.
Yeah, what was going on then? But the real mystery here is the author, someone named Owen M. We have no idea who they are or what they were responding to, but through their handwriting, a few little details, and a series of numerical answers, we're going to try and unravel this enigma, I guess you could say.
It's amazing what we can learn from just looking at how someone writes, like their personality just kind of jumps out at you from the page.
Yeah, you know graphology. So let's start with what we can actually see on these scan pages. It appears to be a series of handwritten, numbered responses, almost like O&M was carefully filling out some kind of questionnaire or a survey. But here's the thing. The questions are missing.
Oh, wow. That's really interesting. It's like finding you find like a random page from a book.
Yeah.
And you're like, wait, who are these characters? What are they talking about?
It's like a puzzle, but with half the pieces missing.
Exactly. And speaking of character, we do have O&M's signature. Signed with a flourish under the truly. Almost theatrical, don't you think?
Yeah, like they're trying to make a statement or something.
It definitely says something about their personality. Like maybe they're a little dramatic, but then again, there's this tiny little Maryland flag sticker right at the top of the first page,
Right.
like tucked away in the corner.
Well,
Almost like they don't want you to notice it,
maybe they're not so loud and theatrical after all.
right? It's like a little contradiction.
Yeah, interesting. Maybe just a little local pride. So we've got our mysterious O&M, probably from Maryland, and prone to a little flair, at least when it comes to signing their name. But let's get to the heart of this document. Those numerical responses, it seems like they might follow a pattern, at least at first glance.
Yeah, let's see. Question 14 has 15 as the answer. And then question 15 is 20. It does seem like there's something going on there, like maybe it's some kind of code.
Or a cipher. Yeah. So if that's right, question 16 should be 25, right?
Yeah, you'd think. But here's where it gets really kind of strange. Instead of 25, O&M writes 30.
30.
30.
Oh, okay. So the pattern just went out the window.
It makes you wonder what question 16 could have been. Like, what would make them jump from that pattern like that?
That's a big change. Okay, so what's next?
All right, so question 21, we're back to 20. It's really strange.
It's
Wow.
really strange. It's like, what is going on?
Like, are these numbers random? Are we missing something here?
Yeah.
And then question 22, this is where it gets even more interesting.
Okay.
It's blank.
Blank.
Nothing there.
No answer at all?
Nope.
Wow.
It's like they just decided not to answer that one.
Especially if you're using all those numbers, like
Right.
that is really saying something.
Exactly. And it's not just that. Question 27 is also blank.
2 blanks.
2 blanks.
Wow. You know, I wouldn't call it a code, but it almost feels like a code or like a cipher. These breaks in the pattern.
Our brains always look for patterns. So when we see something that breaks the pattern, it really stands out.
Yeah, it makes you think. Were there certain questions that O&M just couldn't answer? Or maybe the questions they just didn't want to answer?
It's possible.
It's like what they're not saying is just as important as what they are saying. But before we get too off track here, we were talking about O&M's handwriting earlier. What can you tell about a person from their handwriting?
Oh, yeah, good point. It's easy to get caught up in the missing pieces, but the handwriting itself can tell us a lot. Like in this case, O&M's handwriting. It's legible. You can read it, but it's not super formal or anything.
Yeah, it's not like they spent hours on each letter.
Right.
But it's also not like they were in a huge rush.
Exactly.
It's somewhere in between.
It's like they were trying to get their thoughts down quickly, but also carefully.
Interesting.
And, when you think about it like that, those blank responses become even more interesting.
How so?
Well, did they run out of time? Were they trying to answer all the questions quickly and just didn't get to those?
Or were those questions just too hard to answer?
Maybe they hit a nerve.
Yeah. It's like we only have a tiny window into O&M's world.
We're trying to understand them,
Yeah.
but we're missing so much context.
Exactly. But even with that limited information, we can still learn a lot.
Oh, for sure.
So taking all of this into consideration, what does it tell us about O&M? What kind of picture are we forming? It really makes you think about how much we can learn from just a few pieces of paper.
I know, it's kind of amazing, right?
This one document, 2019.09.09 response, it's taken us on quite a journey.
It has. We've got numbers, handwriting analysis,
Even a little bit of geography.
and through it all, we're trying to understand this person, O&M.
We've tried to find the meaning behind those numbers, and we've wondered about the questions that O&M just didn't answer.
Yeah, and we may never know the answers to those questions.
True.
But maybe what we've learned along the way is even more important.
Like what?
Well, like how to really pay attention, how to take small pieces of information and use them to put together a bigger story.
Yeah, like being a detective.
Exactly.
We have this little glimpse into O&M's world. Their handwriting, their state flag, those numbers.
And even the things they didn't say.
Right. But it's still a mystery.
It is. And maybe that's a good thing.
What do you mean?
Well, in today's world, we're so used to having all the answers at our fingertips.
Yeah.
But sometimes it's good to be reminded that there are still mysteries out there.
I like that.
Mysteries that make us think and wonder.
You know, when we started this deep dive, we were trying to understand O&M.
Right.
But maybe we've also learned something about ourselves.
I think so too. Because it makes you wonder, what if you were the one filling out that questionnaire?
Yeah.
What would your answers be?
That's a good question. What would they say about me? Well, on that note, we'll leave you to ponder that.
Think about your own stories, your own mysteries.
And join us next time for another deep dive.